welcome to the Pink Chair. Before I get started, like always, I would like to thank each and every one of you guys for tuning in today because you could have been anywhere in this world and you choose this time to be with me, and I am forever grateful. Today's the first day I'm going to actually talk about something, and I'm so excited. It was really hard for me to decide what I was going to talk about, and I decided to go with mental illness. Mental illness hit home with me such a way, and I felt like it was time to talk about it. Also, not so long ago, Gail King went to the moon along with four other women. And what struck me so by what she did was she mentioned that she was afraid of heights and she was afraid of flying. As I sat and watched her do this incredible thing, I often wondered what took her to be able to get in the jumpsuit and ride up into space. A lot of you guys may be really surprised to find out that I too have suffered from mental illness. It was never a secret. It was something that I've talked about, but it was something that I dealt with very privately. It all started when I was in elementary school. I must have been about 8 years old. And this particular day was a fire in the school, and how we are taught to line up when you hear the fire bells ring. And this is something that goes on in every school, even up until today. But this particular day, the fire bell rang, everyone lined up, not I. I actually seen smoke, and I flew out the school. And I was in such a rage, and nothing was dealt with. It was like, oh, my mom came up to school the next day. They talked about it. Nothing was dealt with. But I remember that day so vividly. Then time went on, and this time I suffered from a real panic attack. And I must have been in junior high school around this time. And I had a panic attack, just like elementary school. Nothing was dealt with. It was talked about for a little while. Then life goes on. Years later, I'll never forget. I went out with a few of my friends. We had a couple of drinks, not many, maybe two. I went back home. I went to bed. In the middle of the night, I tossed and I turned. For some reason, I couldn't sleep. And then in the middle of the night, all of a sudden, something just like shook me and woke me up. My heart was racing. My mouth was dry. It seemed like the walls was closing in on me. I grabbed my clothes, like I had on pajamas. So I grabbed some things and I flew out the apartment. It took me maybe to the next morning to be able to calm down. And I'm telling you, that must have happened when I was about 22 years old. And from 22 until now, till I'm 61, I have been living with anxiety. Although these days I'm dealing with it, but I'm just here to tell you it is such a struggle. And along with what I struggle with, there's so many other people in this world struggling also. We as people got to stop thinking that when we are unbalanced about things that we need to be afraid to talk about it. Mental illness is serious, y'all. It's really serious. Also, there's times when I feel very depressed. But with me is, I'm very fortunate because I know the signs, I know the triggers, I know how to deal. But there's a lot of people out there doesn't know how to. So I'm just here to talk a little bit about mental illness. I'm not afraid to open up. We live in a world now where it's so common now. Doctors, lawyers, astronauts, all kinds of high profile, very smart people was dealing with mental illness. A lot of them is dealing with mental illness. So I just want to just start my first podcast off talking about mental illness. Since I was able to discuss a little bit about myself, I would like to share something a little bit more personal. I would like to talk about my oldest son. His name is Terrence, and I love him dearly. My son Terrence also suffered from mental illness. He actually has schizophrenia. He suffers from depression. and anxiety. My child was 17 years old when he had a nervous breakdown. Can you imagine? You're having a child at 17 years old with a nervous breakdown. I mean, was a normal kid. I mean, but when you think back, when I actually think back to watching him grow, he was a little, I should have saw the signs. He was very quiet. He was to himself. Some would say a bit timid, but I loved it. He was a good kid, never caused me a day's tear. And this particular day, leading up to that, there was some incidents, but this particular day, it was raining outside. I'll never forget. And he was in his room all day, and I was kind of getting kind of alarmed about it because he didn't want to come out to eat. So I went in the room, and it was dark. So I opened the door slowly, and I knocked. Privacy. I knocked, and he just told me to come in, and it was dark. And I asked him what was he doing in the dark, and he said nothing, Mom. But it was the way his voice sounded. When I turned on the light, my son had a scissor in his hand, and he was sitting on the floor. And at first, I thought, "Oh my God, he's gonna hurt himself." Then he told me he was not, because I did ask him that. He said, "Ma, I want to kill myself." I immediately panicked. When I actually turned on all the lights, he had cut off all his eyelashes. He was born with the most beautiful, as longest eyelashes. He should have been born a girl. I immediately had an anxiety attack myself. But I got myself together very quickly, and I got him out of there, and I took him to Woodall Mental Hospital, which was down the block from where I live. I'll never forget that night. It must have been about 11:30, because at 12 o'clock the shift changes. This particular person behind there wanted to go home. I wanted them to evaluate my child. So, in order for them to do that, it would have took a lot of paperwork. So he took him in the back, asked him 2, 3 questions, and told me, "Oh, he's fine." No, he's not fine. He just told me he wants to kill himself. I said, "Okay, cool." 12 o'clock came, the shift changed. And when the shift changed, a new person came on staff. That's when I went and I talked to that person. Don't you know? That person took my son in the back, and don't you know? He came out in 15 minutes and said he will be here overnight and maybe longer. I knew something was wrong with my child. It just sickens me to know that people who works in this field doesn't have the compassion. And I understand everybody want to go home, but this same child could have went home, and I could have took him home, and he could have killed himself because he decided that he didn't want to do the long form. He decided that whatever I had going on with him, well, either I had to deal with it because he wanted to go home. Thank God for this next person on shift. They told me that my child did have a problem. My son stayed 60 days institutionalized. And there he was found out to be schizophrenic, suffered from deep depression, and then on. It's a whole list of other things. I'm not going to run it down. But I'm just here to tell you, mental illness is serious. I was very fortunate that he didn't succumb to killing himself. But so many young kids kill themselves. And a lot of people want to believe in like bullying. Bullying is real, but I believe a lot of bullying is stemmed from kids who are bullied, but they are first depressed and they have mental illnesses. And being bullied along with that helps them along too, they end up killing themselves. I'm not saying that a lot of these kids were tortured in school and they felt like they had no way out. I'm just saying like a lot of them probably did have some form of mental issue, and then along with the bullying, it just didn't blend well. But I tell you, his struggle was worse than mine because it took a long time. I mean, he was medicated. I mean, all kinds of medication, which today he still does take. He lives in a 3-quarter house, and my son. I mean, a lot of people know my son around the neighborhood. You see my son in the street. He panhandles. He's dirty, but it's nothing I can do about it. I went through the system, trying to get help for him. I try to get him where he can stay with me. I try to put him in, I buy clothes, I bring him home, I bathe him. I mean, I do everything. But at the end of the day, he's a grown man, and like the courts say, he's entitled to his own ways. And as a parent All I can do is pray. God got him when I don't. God got him first. I got him second. And I just want to say I love my son. I'm going to do whatever I can do for him. But I'm telling you, if you got a family member, a friend that you believe has something going wrong with them, stay vigilant. Everything that appears to be good is not always good. Don't go by what they say. They're going to say they fine. Don't let them be to the point where they believe that, or you believe what they are saying. You know how to view them without viewing them. There's places that you can go. There's places that they can go. There's help all over the place. There's so much help. Oh my God, it's so much help. And I'm to the point in my life where it's like people are let me tell you about mental illness. I'm telling you a sign. People walk around here. I'm gonna tell you there's a story. I read in an article the other day. It was a doctor. He was a major, brilliant cardiologist. One weekend, he saved like 10 lives, quadruple bypass, and took out hearts, laid them on the table, repaired them, put them back. Oh, he was awards everywhere. He went home and blew his brains out. So that just goes to tell you, mental illness, you don't walk around with it on your shirt that I'm mentally ill. The best people who have mental illness knows how to walk around and smile. They are so good at it. But if you know anyone who needs any help, please don't hesitate to stay vigilant, stay watching them, stay talking to them, give them calls. Everybody needs help. I need it. You may need it, may not know you need it. And if you don't need it, bravo. But I'm telling you, it's real. And closing remarks, guys, don't get it fucked up. I just mentioned that I had some mental illness, but I am still Simone. And tune in to the pink chair because, man, it's going to get more raw. It's going to go get more dirty. And like I always say, I never say goodbye. I just say see you later. Peace.